appraised. We had it appraised, and Roland paid it. There was no, I don't remember the exact price, but he paid for the property. That's what had to happen. But on your situation, where your sister owns the back lot to the lot that, where your father's home was, and your father gave her the back lot, that's what I'm hearing, right?
Yep, and I bought the house.
And you bought the house, so the only thing I could say is, you know, sister to sister, is you gotta give her an easement to get into her property.
There is no way to get back there.
It's landlocked. I'm sorry. It's landlocked. So there's no way.
So that's okay, you're gonna make everybody else happy, but one person that you don't.
No,
care
I'm not
that
trying,
landlocked
I'm saying
them.
we're gonna do what's right. And I said, when it's all said and done, I think everybody will be happy. And Sam said there might be a few that's not happy, and you're gonna be one of them.
Oh, really?
Probably, because we can't give you that property. These people don't wanna give up what they got in back of their houses, I don't think.
But you're giving them rights to use
No,
that.
we're gonna give them rights to an easement.
Okay,
If possible, everybody will get an easement for $1 to use that property. And they're gonna have to carry insurance by telling their homeowners, or whatever insurance they got, that they own that property under an easement. If somebody gets hurt on it, they're gonna be covered.
so it doesn't matter that she can't get to her property, she won't have that chance to have that easement.
No, if she's
Because,
got,
no, the fence is going right up to it.
if she's
It
got
goes right
property
across the
behind her
fence.
house, say for instance, this is her house, and she owns here and here and here, and the Bridgeport Authority got this part down here, okay, she can take that as an easement. But as far as going all the way up through there, that's a different story.
I mean, personally, I don't have a problem, if I'm gonna lease that land for $1 a year, I don't have a problem with any of the neighbors driving up there like they normally did and going into their backyards back there. If they wanna haul, you know, put their boats back there in the wintertime or their campers, they can go across my property. I don't have, I mean, if I'm leasing it for a year from you guys, I mean, we can keep it open just the way it was.
That's where the lawyer comes in and tells us what you can do and how to do it.
I mean,
that's where the
most of
verbiage
us
comes
wouldn't
in.
have a problem with that.
Yeah.
Because,
What we'll do is we'll try to work this out for all of us, you know, we're gonna try to work this out. We'll have another meeting with every landowner in this particular square. We'll have a meeting, we'll get notification to you. We'll have another meeting right here. We'll sit down and we'll go over it with everybody in this room. I'm not gonna send out a letter to all these folks. Only the folks that own the property. Would you like to have an easement for this 30 feet, 50 feet, 60 feet? Here's what the easement is, this is how wide it's gonna be behind your house. Yes, I would, sign it, we're out of here. The only thing that's gonna be required is no different than the baseball teams, the football teams, you gotta have insurance. That's the law, we have to have that.
we don't have a problem with that. We don't have a problem with that.
And the other thing is I think the chairman's made it very clear, we'll work with the engineer and the architect to get that fence as close as we can.
And that's all we're asking. That's all we're asking, Fred.
Don, I mean, that's, Don, you wanna speak on
What he
it?
just said, does that address your problem?
No, it doesn't. See, Skip and Aunt Janet and Uncle Chubby are all down by Phoenix. We're down by Scott. This Scott Boyer, not that Scott Boyer.
Way down in here is what he's talking
Yeah.
about.
We're the end.
My sister's property, let's see, I own the house here. Scott's house here is here, but Scott's garage now is right there, so there's absolutely no way to get to that property out back. My sister owns all this.
And it's vacant, right? He's a vacant.
No, we have family that comes up there, well, there's no home on it, no. Well, my family comes up from downstate, and they usually put campers or whatever, and Scott uses it too.
So what you're doing is, how you get down, you come down across the
Well,
back end.
See, Dad and them used to come right down through here, yes.
We'll talk about easement through there, so those people will be, so you get across it, that's all we can
But
do.
see, where Carmody is, he has like, because Bridge came in and they filled it in there, when my father used to have a big hill and the rock and the trees and everything, they come in and they kind of like squished them in there where it was like a big gully, so it would have filled up with water, so they had no choice than to fill it.
Well, this form, maybe.
Carmody put his fence right on that line, didn't he?
Well, Carmody likes to do what he wants to do anyways.
He's got two
but
fences,
anyways,
but he
they
must be
don't-
legal.
This is you're talking about.
Yes, and you have to drive over a great big hill to get over to there, where before it was just straight.
Right here, this one.
No, my mom does. I gave her life use of it, and this is my sister's property right here. This is Scott's. This Scott, that's Scott Boyer.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Can I speak a little?
I think the thing you take away
Come
from
on
this
right up here.
is we
Sorry,
want
come on right up.
to make sure everybody gets as much as they can.
I mean,
We're not trying to
I don't have a
create
problem so much with the fence. It's for the family to be able to get in there with something.
down through here.
Yeah, and great, like I said, Carmody has a great big.
Okay,
All right, let's some more, we have another meeting in 15 minutes here,
You
so.
can't drive
this gentleman would like to
bottom
speak.
up, you know?
Scott Boyer, 1734th Street. I'm more or less here to be informed. I don't really know what the project entails, so if I shoot some questions, can they be, have a dialogue here?
Best we can.
Okay. So the blue fence that's being proposed, was that put in place by the state of New York or by the board here?
Are you talking about this line here, Scott?
The blue fence that you're talking about here, to
Yeah.
answer your
Oh, that one
question,
there.
that blue fence line was what was approved in part of the New York State DOT project. The public hearing occurred September 8, 2011, with a 30-day comment period. This is the same blue fence, as I mentioned. At its closest point, it is 34 feet to a property line. At its farthest point, it is almost 80 feet from the property line.
Where's the 34 feet?
How
The
about you?
34 feet is up here in the narrow parcel owned by now or formerly Dorothy Ferguson.
What's Kevin got for space behind this place?
Kevin,
Meg?
The Phoenix.
there's some kind of special arrangement has to be worked out there because according to the survey, the Bridge and Port Authority owns 11 feet of the restaurant. Property under 11 feet of the restaurant, so there's gotta be a special accommodation in this case.
Take it all. Name your price.
Well, we know this is big business, but small business, Ogdensburg built on small business. So right now we have a parking problem down 4th Street on Friday nights. It's so congested, you can't get out of your driveways. They gotta get boxed in basically on both sides, so if you cut out the parking back there, you're really gonna have problems.
Certainly, one of the things that
Somebody's gonna get in a bad accident or a kid's gonna get killed.
one of the proposals to address this is come right down the blue line that you see right there and then invert the fence and create a separate parking area down behind Phoenix on the Bay. Again, we cannot give away public property, but what we can do is do a lease agreement for this parcel and put it out to bid, and whomever is interested in it would have the opportunity to bid on it through a public process.
What would the lease terms be?
That would be, it would be part of the public process, once we put it out there. Then we're not anywhere near that stage.
And another thing that may happen here is the board, after we look at this, get the legal opinions from everybody, maybe the state will tell us to have it appraised as pieces of land that's behind us. You can buy it. You just wanna buy it. That's very possible.
Not worth much, it's an old dump.
Yeah.
Huh?
It's an old dump, I mean, we can't do, I mean, we can maintain it and grow grass on it, but other than that, I mean,
You can't build a thing on
we
it.
can't build nothing on it, just like you guys couldn't build nothing on it, well, millions of dollars taking that crap out of there.
So Wade, the red line that's proposed, that's all our property lines, probably 2 feet off our property line,
No, the red line that,
bordering everybody's property.
in this diagram, just so I can hold it up and show it, I drew in, there was a white line right there, it didn't show up too well, so I drew the red line in as the property line. That's the most unlikeliest scenario for a fence. You wouldn't design that type of fence just because it doesn't make sense. It's A, too close to the existing property line, and B, it's not straight.
Well, you're gonna have a jagged fence too. Is there any way we can get it closer to the road, or is that, why was it proposed here? Is there certain codes you have to follow, or?
Right, in this area here, we looked at as for maybe some storage there. So right now, we need room for some containers to maybe put, or a windmill, until they get it out of here. So that's areas that we could use, and of course, the rail runs right through here. So,
I don't think you can use this, so it's unstable ground back there.
Well, so
It's an old landfill filled in.
For example, to answer your question, it's our intention to use this area right here potentially for storage. We don't have enough space now. We are presently leasing land over in this area right here. the other side of Wall Street because we don't have enough space.
So the long-term plans behind everybody's property would be storage. Is that what you're saying, or?
I can't say that for certain, no. But that would be the most likely use because it's not something that, as you pointed out, can support a structure. It's not something that can support any large type of building there.
What would be stored there?
Well, for example, if we had it right now, and there wasn't construction going on the Port Access Road, it's likely that we would use that as a parking area for the longshoremen. And where the longshoremen are presently parking now, we would use that for wind component storage.
It may never be used. But it's- You
That's
asked,
my vote.
that could be used as a storage area.
And how are you routing the windmills out of the city?
The windmills are, that's a very good question that you asked. The windmills are coming up the Port Access Road onto Ford Street and then out the Ford Street extension. I've heard some
The only problem
comments
is you
that
got
they
that bend on 4th Street.
that they would be going out Proctor Avenue. That's not the case. That they would be coming through the far side of the port. That's not the case. Strictly coming out Ford Street.
But that sharp turn you got right there on 4th Street may cause a fatality. Because they're gonna come trucking out of there. It's already tight now, you put 2 cars there. All I'm saying is I put a sign up there or something, letting people know.
Well, there'll be flags, and there'll be pilot cars, there'll be everything.
There'll be police
You're
escorts.
talking probably, the amount of time for that windmill to go out of the city is an hour, the most. From the start to the finish, you'd be out onto the highway. Once it gets to where you cut down Proctor Avenue, it's on the state road at that time.
No, not Proctor.
4th Street extension.
4th Street extension, not Proctor. 4th
No, what I'm saying, when it gets past where you turn to go down Proctor Avenue, that's
right,
all
right.
state highway.
Yes, that's correct.
When you get to that point, you're fine, but I'm just saying, 4th Street sometimes like a highway. I saw a guy with a trailer when I passed, I had to jump out of the way with my mower, pass another car coming 40 miles an hour down 4th Street.
But with these trucks and stuff, they won't have any problem making that curve. That's already been designed.
All right.
We have also approached the city, you mentioned about that intersection, we have approached the city regarding the Ford Street, Green Street, Proctor Avenue intersection. We recognize that's dangerous. We approached the city months ago regarding potential closure of one side of that intersection for that reason.
Yeah, that's a dangerous spot even in the mountains.
Yes.
You said that, you showed some parking lot that would go out to bid.
Quiet, please. Yes, Kevin, like, folks.
You said that if you put a parking lot there, it would have to go out to bid. A week ago, it was not gonna go out to bid, you were gonna give me a parking lot if you take out my wall. It didn't have to go out to bid then.
That's correct. That would be a negotiated item. It's our understanding since those conversations that there's potential interest from another party regarding rental of this space.
So anybody can rent any of this land behind their houses? They want, they outbid them?
Well, it would do them no good if there's no access.
Yeah. That's if we decide
You
to
can
do
rent
that.
it, but you
I don't
can't get
think we're gonna do that. We're not gonna do any parking lot. It's not gonna happen.
I hope not.
No, it won't be blocked.
They're gonna park along the street, we can't stop them there, they can park on both sides of the street. That's an issue for the city to decide how to clean it up. And I agree with you, it's very narrow there. I've always said it should only be parking on one side in that area. But a lot of neighbors, they never got that. For years fought for that.
I mean, we've been there 27 years. I mean, we can live with it. You know what I mean? I mean, there's been a few accidents out there, fender benders and stuff like that, but, I mean, to have a parking lot down below the hill, I mean, it's not gonna help Kevin's business. A lot of elderly, they don't wanna climb a hill to go and eat. I mean, they just don't wanna do that. I mean, I'm not old yet, I don't wanna climb a hill to go and eat. Not that I couldn't lose some weight. Yeah. But,
Okay, sir, you got something?
Yeah, so, are you?
No, I like what you're doing.
Oh,
You're
okay.
cleaning up the shoreline. I'm just, I guess like everybody else, my concern is the fence line.
Okay.
Thank you.
I mean, if you can accommodate us there and even
Let me,
easements.
thank you for that. Let me, have some level of conclusion here, whatever, wrap this up. Obviously, you're not gonna, I hope you don't go so frustrated, I didn't really ask the question that you wanted to ask, you got the answer you got. But you always have access to call here, we're open line, talk to Wade, talk to Steve Lawrence, okay, to get answers that you need. Or myself at home. Don't be afraid to do that, or any of the board members. We're open for any conversation to help you whatsoever. the formality here is the road has to be built. It'll be built, and the way it'll work, it'll be a trial run. Because the real seriousness of this project, and okay, all the money invested is making that bend. And the compaction, the twist and the turn of the weight. And if you look down now, I don't know if you see how big these, okay, this is what the future is what the turbines are. But to make that bend, we can't pave it right away. All right, so you're gonna have some dust, dirt, whatever, until we know exactly how compacted. As you see the sinkhole, whatever, that's a real serious concern. Okay, how that sidewall to form there, whatever. So it'll be a while before, we really pave it and you see what's going up and down, whatever. Will it be noisy and dirty at first? Yes, it will be. Will it be quiet and cleaner when it gets paved? Yes, it will be. Will it block some of your view some of the time? Yes, it will. It will. There's no question about it. I can't deny that type of thing, whatever. But as far as the fence, we'll keep you posted. We'll do the best we can as far as what our rights and privileges are for you. We'll do that. We'll work all the way around there. Okay, that's what we'll do. As soon as we know what our obligations are, okay, Wade has your addresses, the owners, whatever. We'll keep you informed. Okay. Any other?
Sam, will the fence be gated? Gonna be a public road or?
No, it won't be.
No. Well, you see, you get complex again because what's happened here is trying to be a good neighbor and best we can. Okay, should we lock Wall Street off? All right, so people can't go down there. We haven't done that.
You blocked the
Okay.
4th Street one?
Wall Street will not be the
Oh,
interested
I know
down in
what
Up
here.
her way I'm talking
If,
about.
if I can
For the
answer
light
this
Yeah,
question.
go ahead.
I'd just like to respond to one of the others. I've heard the same rumor you have, that there's gonna be this gargantuan gate at Ford Street with 3 strands of barbed wire and it's gonna be 9 feet high. You've heard all the rumors. There's no gate at Ford Street. Ford Street is just a nice wide open intersection, chain link fence on each side of the property, on Pat Sargent's side and also on the other side of the property, right there. But the intersection itself is wide open. There is no gate. The gate that you would run into if you went down the Port Access Road would be down at Wall Street. So at that point, you wouldn't be able to drive straight into the port. You would be able to take a right and go into the Wall Street, the public viewing area as you see now.
So you're worried about liability, where's the
Yeah.
liability fall with that?
Yeah, right.
That's not
Sure.
severe.
Well, that's the risk reward. You see, don't
Hit upon another
don't
issue.
ask for it, because if you ask for it, there'll be a gate. So I mean, that's the risk reward.
That's what was said to us so earlier.
I know.
But all of those people that you're talking about, if paid for the proper insurance to be on our property and stuff, the boat races, the fishing derbies, and et cetera, et cetera. These guys come down here and say, can we use the Wheat House Bay for the fishing derby? We said, yes, but you gotta have this policy. They went and bought the policy. They followed the rules and the procedures. And I wanna be clear on this as a board member. As Chuck says, each board member's got their own views. My view is you will have access down the new road to the Wheat House Bay where you always have had access. Our fence is going straight across there. I would like to keep that like that and keep that area secure and still let you people have the Wheat House Bay for fishing derbies or whatever you can get in there on there. That's my wishes. But as far as going down Wall Street and then going over the access road, that is not gonna happen. That will be closed off there. And that's when I said, there'll be parking for both restaurants then. People can park down that hill. I'm sorry that, some of us will walk up that hill like me. I walk it every time I go down there.
Yeah.
But,
Wait a minute.
Come on.
You're talking to us.
I walked the whole city this morning.
Now I'm the only one talking, but I like
We
to.
grew up together, you know.
I know, but I'll tell you, when this is all said and done, the other thing is working with the city on this. The mayor was on the board at the time. We wanted everything done on that corner and that intersection to be proper and safe. That's why we got a completely traffic control light going in there. Now, is that gonna be on or off? As far as I'm concerned, it should be on only during the day when the port has people going in and out. At night, it should be on caution. That's my thought, but I don't know what the city's gonna wanna do. But that light system alone was $300,000 that the taxpayers would have. We got that included in this contract. So it's not gonna cost the city of Ogdensburg anything. So, in Patterson Street, I just want everybody to know, can never be shut down from truck traffic. Can never be shut down, State Street can never be shut down for coming in across the Twin Bridges, because them are state roads. Them are state properties, they're the ones that run it, so they can have truck go wherever they want. I'm hoping that our traffic comes into our port the way we're talking, off in 37, in, down, out, and go back out. I don't wanna see them running down Patterson Street.
So
where
we'll take
Boys
care of the
Club
salt
is.
trucks in the wintertime too then.
Right, all the salt trucks are gonna be going out that way, because we can direct them that way. Now, the guy that wants to go the other way, we can't stop him because it's a state road. We can't physically stop him. Now, the city's got a little more lenience. They can shut Linden Street down if they want to for truck traffic, only local traffic. They can shut Champlain Street down if they want to. That's up to them. And we have suggested that. The other one is, we have suggested, for you all know, where the little park is, where everybody sits and tries to, which way he's gonna go and get across, to go down Proctor Avenue. We would like to see that little short street in there taken out, make it all park, and let the people come right up to Champlain like they should and turn. It's the proper way, instead of trying to beat a car or going like that. The city, from what I understand, they're not in favor of that. But this board is in favor of that. And we wanted to make the park bigger, make the park bigger down there, because that's a nice little park. So I don't know where that's gonna happen or not, but I just wanted to share some of our thoughts with that, and I'm glad you all come. This is the first time since 1992 I've seen all these people, even Jimmy Reagan and Chuck Kelly.
First time you invited us.
Oh,
Well, let me conclude this. Yes, Scott?
I got 2 more questions. What's the likelihood of the fence going on where our properties are, bordering the red line?
Zero.
0?
you mean that up and down one?
Yep.
Depends on how many fish skips gives me.
Yeah, one other thing.
Yes.
Is
got
there
some- we got
is there any
some
trees
right
being planted down there that would
Trees?
obstruct our view?
Somebody had some trees damaged, whatever, and we're gonna replace those. I think, I'm not sure exactly where they are in somebody's property.
They're down.
Not unless you want some down in
Is there any trees in the
I heard a
project?
rumor.
There's
That's
no
all.
No, we
plans for it.
damaged a couple of trees.
No, I'm
I just
talking
have
about
one
in the
quick
project. Is there state trees in
Yes,
the project?
yes, sir.
I'm Scott Boyer too, cousins. The top of Ford Street entrance to the new thing, you said there's gonna be no gate there closed at night?
That's correct.
So I mean,
No
kids,
gate there closed at
kids
night.
can go up and down that street, you're saying?
Yes.
I thought you put in a chain.
Alright, I just didn't know.
Well, we want to keep as much access to the areas that you've been using for the last 50 years. And that's Sweet House Bay area, where the
Well,
grain
we go Wall
elevator.
Street.
Huh?
Everybody goes Wall Street.
Yeah, but they won't be doing that way, because we're not gonna put a crossing there.
The Wall Street
Will be
Street
closed.
fence will be closed and locked
Yeah.
conceptually.
Okay.
And we'll put
access
proper
to
barricades
that
across
public-
there.
Access to that public portion is gonna occur at the Ford and Berry Street intersection right there. That's how you're gonna access that down there.
It's gonna be better for you too, because you'll be able to see people going in and out, and maybe watching somebody and taking pictures.
Hearing them, drag stripping.
Well, we call the cops out now when they get down there and do their donuts in the parking lot.
Okay, let me say this so we can move on, folks. Kevin, I'll enter this into public record, your petition. We'll do that, I'll send that over, okay, follow that. We will now continue on with our facilities meeting, which we have to go to. And then we'll come back to a public session, okay, with the full board. Now, if you want to make comments again to the full board, please stay, it's up to you to wish, okay? I hope in this forum helped you a little bit to relax, say what you wanted to say, okay? To help us understand, or I did understand, but at least let you know that we care about what's happening and we come up with a reasonable solution.
Well, thanks for listening, thanks
Thank
for, we hope you have our backs on this.
Okay.
That's all, we're not asking for a lot.
All right.
Don't forget, there'll be one more meeting with the people that own the homes and property. There'll be one more meeting.
Okay. Thanks, folks.
I'll bring my dollar.
Bring the fish. Thank you, everybody.
He don't catch any fish.
He doesn't?
No, he wants to sell his minerals to us. Jimmy? You okay? God bless you. I'm glad to see
Thank
you
you very
here.
much.
We need people like you.
Okay, Mr. Chairman of the Facilities Committee, I'll turn the meeting back to you, and I appreciate